Hey everyone, Georgie here with Ukraine Matters. Recently I did a stream where I talked about how dismissal of General Zaluzhny is not real, that it's all based on a lot of rumors, that we have absolutely zero evidence of any kind of major disagreements between Zelensky and Zaluzhny. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any disagreements. I'm pretty sure there are certain ways that they look at certain situations differently because something must have been. Maybe they talk, maybe they argue about certain things. That's normal work logic. What I'm saying is that there has been zero reliable evidence presented on that there is a conflict between Zelensky and Zaluzhny, that Zelensky is like boiling over to fire Zaluzhny. All of I heard was that there was really bad arguments, and let's not talk about it. Let me just show you. Here we have an article, and this is from Washington Post, but it could have been easily any other article in any other newspaper, Western, non-Western, whatsoever. And today we're going to look through it, and I'm going to give you like markers and signs how you can just completely distill the BS and non-starters right away. Because what we're talking here is quite a serious topic, right? So you wouldn't base such a serious claims on some words of someone that just wants to stay anonymous, that would not substantiate his claims with any kind of, I don't know, videos, audio recording, notes, pictures, anything, right? You wouldn't do that, right? Well, let's just read through. So we start already pretty good, that according to a senior official familiar with the conversation, Jolly who? Well, if that's an official, senior official, so that means he should be a responsible official, because otherwise he's just kind of leaking secret information to some Western media sources, is he not? So some guy just like, oh, I'm a senior official, that I know about the conversation. Also, what does it mean familiar with the conversation? Like, has he been there? Has he listened to it? Who is this guy? And that's the question that we need to be asking, because there's a lot of people around Kiev, right? The war is not not an easy situation to be in. So it might have been just a person like a deputy from some other party that was just supposedly knowing that there is a meeting between Zelensky and Zaluzhny. But again, we don't have it here, and we're going to come back to it in a second. And it says here then a disruptive military shakeup amid Ukraine's struggle on the battlefield and after months of friction between the president and the popular general. Two things. Firstly, months of friction. Again, I'm going to reiterate, not a single proof or evidence or any kind of substantiated person that would come forward and claim that there is indeed conflict, that, for example, it's not healthy, that we should resolve this conflict or anything like that. You know, someone that would put his reputation on the line and come publicly. There was never a person like that. Everything that we hear from the official sources is that, no, the conflict is not there. There are working situations, but nothing drastic. And what we're seeing instead is a lot of speculation about the topic and very little substance. Second, the problems on Ukrainian battlefield, especially when we're talking, Zaluzhny remains in his post for now, but a formal presidential decree expects to confirm his ousting nearly 2 years into Russian invasion, and Moscow's forces appear to be gaining the strategic initiative on some parts of the front. It's definitely because of something that Zaluzhny did, right? It's definitely not because Ukraine is having trouble with a new type of warfare, fighting against a country that is having a lot more resources. It's definitely not because right now the Western powers and EU and US are just cannot get their shit together and finally support the allies that we promised to support until the end. Now, we need to see this, because what is stated here kind of is saying, oh, there is a conflict because the situation on the battlefield is difficult and because Ukraine is losing situation. That's why Zaluzhny needs to be fired. What? No, that's a non sequitur. That is absolutely goes against everything that we've seen so far and everything that we know. So if you follow this channel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. On Monday, Zelensky spokesperson Sergei Nikiforov denied that Zaluzhny has been fired. There we go, official statement. What's the official statement? There is no subject of conversation, Nikiforov told reporters. There is no order. The president did not dismiss the commander-in-chief. Like, you couldn't say it more clearly. But like this, it's Washington Post, but like the journalist X or a Twitter writer X or a media personality X just couldn't let it go. Like, so they say, oh, but our sources are saying that in their conversation, Zelensky and Zaluzhny told Zaluzhny that Ukrainians have grown tired of war and that the country's international backers have also slowed military assistance. So perhaps a new commander would rejuvenate the situation, the person familiar with their conversation. This goes against the same facts that you mentioned in this article themselves, that Zaluzhny is super, super popular, that it would be a huge gamble for dismissal of Zelensky. Who is the person that is suggesting contradictory statements? Like, is it Zaluzhny doing shit and people get tired of doing shit, so like he needs replacement because like the situation is not good? Or Zaluzhny is popular, he is being supported, so dismissal of Zaluzhny would even worsen the situation? Which is it? The individuals spoke about the meeting on the conditions of anonymity. Yeah, well, of course, like, because then you need to reveal your who you are and actually be responsible for the words you're saying, right? Then you cannot be just like a high-ranker senior official familiar with the conversation. Then you can get critiqued for who you are, for what you're doing, for what your positions have been before, right? Oh, but this subject, I guess it's okay to just rely solely. But I'm surely think that somewhere later in the article we're gonna get some kind of additional substance with pictures, videos, or at least anything that would state us. And it says that's like, yes, oh, senior member of Zaluzhny staff are expected to be removed as well. Okay. Zaluzhny proposed mobilizing close to 500,000 troops, a figure Zelensky viewed as impractical given the scarcity of uniforms, guns, training facilities, and so on. And it will be hard to find funds in conflict. And they write it in a context that the two boiled over of disagreement about how many soldiers Ukraine needs to mobilize. Now, this argument about the number and everything is not new. This has been discussed in media for the last 3 months or so. It's not new. There is nothing new in this statement. It's just them discussing and reiterating how they suddenly are being boiling over, supposedly. Well, I mean, I guess they were like in person, right? If they saw them boiling over, right? I would guess also, like, imagining Zaluzhny boiling over is a little bit of a problematic thing for me. And then we go, Andriy, a deputy battalion commander. Okay, so now we just switch gears. We go away from any kind of political commentators that understand what's happening in Kyiv, and we just go to Andriy, which is a random deputy battalion commander. Like, why is that? Why is his thought relevant? He's just a deputy battalion commander. He's not like a political expert. He doesn't know the subject. Why is Andriy here? Like, with all respect to Andriy. Like, but what does he has to say? And then we go yada, 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 yada. Oh, frictions between Zelensky and Zaluzhny has been brewing for months. The general has expected he could be dismissed since summer 2022, the person said. Well, what? What person? Also, like, usually in these news articles, whenever there is like a reference to something that was happening for a while, you would reference some kind of earlier articles that have substance, or you would reference the facts that led to things. But there is no substantiated right here. It's just like, oh, there's a guy that said me, like, trust me. And then the cherry on the cake, like the fucking absolute, like, obviously this is just Washington Post, but I'm pretty sure this goes for everyone. The absolute kind of like, you know, the pimpage on top of the shit cake of nothingness right over here is we have ending of this article from a quote from fucking Kremlin. Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, is the final word of this article. How much more garbage than this can you get? I don't know. I don't know. And this is where I'm kind of drawing the line, because this is getting out of hand. So I'm really calling on all of the community, please, please. I know that there might be situation like there is no smoke without fire, stuff like that, you know, rule of a thumb. Get it, right. But just like whenever someone, especially about this topic, something as serious as this, like dismissal of General Zaluzhny, please ask for a provided evidence. Don't just say like, oh, there is a guy, or like someone says this, there is that, anonymous sources. Yeah, okay, cool. Absolute garbage. Trash. Zero level reporting. But generally speaking, there are names being thrown here and there about like certain Ukrainians in the political sphere that might have known and have some kind of inside information. And a lot of the Western medias or like some Twitter spokespeople, they try to use these names as to substantiate these claims. I got here a list of names open, and we're going to go through them to see how much exactly these claims are substantiated. So the first one is Borislav Bereza. So Borislav Bereza is a former leader of the right sector, which was very prominent around the Maidan revolution, and after that the members of the right sector were fighting against the Russian invasion of 2014. They have been a political party, but they never got political traction, right? Despite them being like a far-right group, which Russia has been claiming and marking for any kind of political dissonance in Ukraine, and saying that it was them that actually caused the Maidan revolution, by judging by the Russian propaganda. They themselves barely scratched a couple of percent of support from Ukrainian population. So Borislav Bereza was the political leader of that wing, and he since then has been out of politics. He was never re-elected. He never got back into that. So since then, he's been mostly sitting on telegrams or different YouTube channels where he expressed his opinion. Some people find that opinion liberating now, because obviously he was critical about Russia for all of this time. So when Zelensky got elected on the platform of I'm gonna try to reach peace with Putin, for Bereza this was like a spit in his own face. Since then, and all the times, he has been critical of President Zelensky. So for example, if there is like a bombing of house somewhere in Kiev, he would write in his telegram something like this. It was like, oh, awful, Russia bombed us again, they want to destroy us, genocide us, and so on, and this all could have been prevented if Zelensky would do X. And like basically turn every single argument against Zelensky. Like not every post, obviously, but there is a lot of things, and he's extremely critical. So whenever you hear someone saying Borislav Bereza, this guy is going to tell you anything. He has been wrong. He has been caught wrong. He is not a trusted news source. He's a political speaker, and he will twist and turn information the way that he sees fit to fit his potentially political message. Next person that is being flown around is Oleksiy Goncharenko. So Oleksiy Goncharenko is a little bit more known face to the Western audience. This is mostly because amidst Ukrainian politicians, there's not that many that speak decent English. And Oleksiy Goncharenko is a person that does. And he's been relatively externally focused, so he focused a lot to external media. He has been doing a lot of these snippet videos from the Russian attacks, going around the country. He has been shunned for that in Ukraine, because during the first couple of months, he was filming the work of the Ukrainian anti-air systems. He was filming the shutting down of the consequences of the Russian missile strikes, and he was publishing it online to people. Says like, you're compromising our own defenses. What are you doing, man? So what you need to know about Oleksiy Goncharenko, if we don't even go into his like deep past where he was like a pro-Russian candidate from Odessa, he is actually quite a big critic of Zelensky. Firstly, he's a populist. Like he's like a really bad case of populist. Like maybe not Trump level, but something like this sort of a Fico, like the Robert Fico level of Slovakia. So a little bit of a level down. He doesn't have the influence of Fico probably, and obviously he's against Russia now. But generally speaking, he's a huge populist. He works on the public narratives. He likes to yell a lot. He is really loud, and that's about the best thing that people see in him as a politician career. He doesn't make a lot of good points. A lot of his information that he's posting online is just reposting hype. He doesn't check. He doesn't verify. He is not a trusted source. He does not have the access to ins and out of the secret information. Potentially he knows more than I do, but he's not a big fan of Zelensky for sure, and he has been critiquing Zelensky for a while. Petro Poroshenko, you might hear this name. So Petro Poroshenko was the main opposition to Zelensky. He was the incumbent president when Zelensky ran from office, and since then Poroshenko has been very, very salty at Zelensky. His explosion of his saltiness after Zelensky went after his channels because he was using media and political power to promote his campaign. So he was like a corrupt guy, and he's like an oligarch. So Zelensky went to install more rule of law. They shut down specific Poroshenko channels. They went after some of his illegal schemes. Since then, he has been obviously supporting Ukraine for a while now, but he has been silent in his political rhetoric for about a year and a half in the Ukraine war. However, at that year and a half mark, he has been riling more and more. If before it was kind of like more of a subtle messages that he was posting and saying through his subordinates that undermine Zelensky's governance, now it's been more loud and louder and louder. He's an oligarch. He has a lot of money. He's spending a lot of that money to make sure that the message against Zelensky are undermined. And I think he has a personal vendetta against Zelensky, and he doesn't like him at all. Yuri Butusov. So Yuri Butusov is a journalist. He is also an owner, I guess, and like the chief redactor of the Censornet UA news site. Calling it a news site right now is actually quite a statement, because since 2014, Censornet UA has been referred to as like a garbage of the internet. It's a platform where news doesn't matter, how much conspiracy doesn't matter. So it's like something like what was the Alex Jones shows, like this, like InfoWars. So it was like marginally better than InfoWars, except for this. So it's like Russian soldiers has like, I don't know, like drank and screwed each other with a bottle of vodka. Hot videos right here, click here. This was the level of the articles on that. It's been improving since then. He has been always pro-Ukraine, but he was never known to be the person that filters information or checks any kind of rumors. He is not a well-known trusted source. What he's popular for is because of his pro-Ukrainian position. He is also very, very brave. He always goes to the front line. He always speaks with the people on the front lines. But he has been critical of Zelensky's government and how things are done. And it's kind of funny because he's critical of Zelensky's government. He's critical of ZALUZHNYI and how ZALUZHNYI is organizing things. But apparently he's now just like exploring like how to support Ukraine. He is definitely, absolutely, definitely not a source that you should trust. In a sense of like this, like if you can find raw footage or raw news or raw reporting from his website and himself, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. However, whenever certain opinions or there is no 100% proof, I would definitely take a while before I would trust Yuri Butusov. This was extremely obvious if you understand Ukrainian, and if you've seen any of his streams, he always expresses his opinion very, very deeply. And he mixes up his opinion with the facts in a very way that it's very hard to take apart, and he has very strong opinions. And final name that is also is being kind of flown around is Mariana Bezukhla. So Mariana Bezukhla she is from the Zelensky. She's an MP with the party, the Servant of the People. It's called Zelensky Party because they are supporting Zelensky as a president. But that is what we need to understand. She isn't just an MP. She's not a spokesperson for Zelensky. She is not responsible for Zelensky. She does not represent his position at all. Zelensky has commented on her actions and said that she's an MP. It's not for me to quote and discuss what MPs do. And for Zelensky, he was not really doing that with other MPs for the most part as well. So Mariana Bezugla is notorious because she is very critical of Zaluzhny. She's saying that Zaluzhny is not doing enough, that he is not providing enough planning, he's not providing enough clarity for what he wants to do. And that was his opinion. That was her opinion. And what people did is that they took all of this and says, oh, well, if she's against Zaluzhny, therefore Zelensky also is against Zaluzhny. Haha, I connected two dots. Therefore, Zelensky wrong, Zaluzhny right. Ha, fuck Zelensky. There we go. And that's it. Like, it's a non sequitur. It's a non-starter. You cannot just take a random MP, her opinion, and then just say like, oh, Zelensky thinks the same. Therefore, yeah, look at her, and that's what Zelensky thinks. Now, that's not how it works. I can go on and on explaining you all of this, that there is not a lot of information, but that should be obvious when even like if someone throws you names, right? It's like, is that a quote that they're doing? Like, who is the person? Just quick Googling about the person and maybe relationship will help you. Or even better, watch my videos. Ask me questions when I'm live. I'm going to explain everything to you. I'm going to finish this with a famous quote from one anonymous source I have from Kremlin that said, fuck Russia, fuck Putin, get out of Ukraine right now. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video. I was really mad when I made it, but I want to finish today on a very high note. We got a very special thing for this channel, and we're probably going to celebrate it in the coming stream, but YouTube finally did it. We got our silver button, big celebration for us, for everyone at this channel. We're going to put it right over here in the future videos. So it's going to be there for you. Huge thanks to everyone that watches this channel. Huge thanks to everyone that supports this channel. Huge thanks to all moderators. But I want us to look at this and remember that me, this channel, nothing like this matters. Ukraine matters. Support Ukraine, support the Ukrainian armed forces. Slava Ukraini, and I'll see you guys next time.